Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. This is Your Business Incorporated. I am Bosin number 5. German Chancellor Angela Merkel is currently in Nigeria, and she's meeting with Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari. And of course, Volkswagen signs MOU with an indigenous automaker in Ghana to start the production of the brands. And of course, we have the $5.1 billion Costa Coffee takeover by Coca-Cola, from Coca-Cola with coffee. Now let's have a bit of taste of that in the program. The next 30 minutes, let's get started with the big story. German Chancellor Angela Merkel, the German leader who is currently in Nigeria on a three-nation tour of West Africa, Senegal, Ghana, and now in Nigeria. She's coming just 48 hours after the departure of UK Prime Minister Theresa May. This is the second head of state visiting Nigeria since the month of August started. And of course, you can see the images there of the Nigerian president and these officials receiving the German chancellor at the State House, at the Villa in Abuja. Of course, the German leader, heading one of the world's largest economies, a member of the G20, will be holding diplomatic and bilateral meetings with the Nigerian president to discuss issues ranging from economy to security. Let's take a quick listen to what has been discussed in the early part of these meetings today.
Here in Nigeria have focused on an agreement that provides credit opportunities for farmers, who makes it easier to have access to credit financing, those who wouldn't be able to afford taking a credit otherwise. In Nigeria, we haven't focused that much on agriculture until now. We've focused very much on industrialization. We are trying to assist people who want to start up their own company, want to, be independent entrepreneurs. Here we provide vocational training, and we've also focused very much on energy.
We do not support anything illegal and indisciplined. You must recall that about 6 weeks ago, we repatriated about 3,000 Nigerians that were stuck in Libya on their way to Europe. And you also must have read in the papers and must be seen in the televisions the number of Nigerians lost in the Mediterranean. So to us, this administration is very clear. We do not support anything illegal, and anybody who feels that his country does not value him, does not offer him what he should be offered as a citizen, and decided to defy the desert in the Mediterranean, he's doing it at his own risk. But if found stuck in Libya or anywhere between his final destination and Nigeria, we'll bring him back home and send him back to his local government.
Let's get the feel of the European markets today. Nigeria's play host to German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Michael, let's get a bit of a sense of a broader thinking and what's been reported across the countries where this is taking place: Germany, Nigeria, Ghana, and Senegal. My colleague Paul Christian Brice is live to us from the Frankfurt Stock Exchange at the German market, and of course he's standing in there for Channels Television. Thank you very much, Paul. It's good to see you. What are the Germany's traditional media, print, electronic, radio, television, reporting about the Chancellor's trip to Africa, and in particular Nigeria?
Hey, it's good to be with you. The focus of the German press is, of course, a little different from Nigeria, as it is focused mainly on that aspect of illegal immigration to Europe. And the overall consensus seems to be doubt that Angela Merkel can actually make much progress on that while she is in Africa. German magazine Der Spiegel calls it Merkel's dilemma. The Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung feels there's a missing consistency in the strategy of dealing with Africa. Overall, Nigeria is considered to be the most difficult part of the visit because, of course, of security concerns in the north of Nigeria, where the Islamist group Boko Haram is continuing to grow in strength. And that's the reason why Nigeria actually, in Germany, out of these 3 countries that the Chancellor has visited, is not considered a safe country of origin. So some people coming to Europe are actually doing this legally if they apply for asylum. However, 8,600 people living currently in Germany are obliged to leave, certainly, like definitely. 20 more thousand have been denied, but an appeal is pending. Germany and Europe would depend on cooperation from African states, especially from Nigeria. But in fact, Angela Merkel has just at the press conference stated that, excuse me, that there hasn't been an official agreement or deal signed yet, and that the countries will continue to talk about this problem.
Paul, do you think that if there is an improved bilateral trade and investment, for example, look at the talk about Volkswagen signing a deal with an indigenous firm in Ghana to start a production line of Volkswagen brands, some of them as it were. Do you think if there is more of this signing of bilateral trade deals with some countries in Africa, in particular some of the major points where some of these immigrants are pouring into Europe and Germany in particular, do you think this will most likely be part of stemming the tide when you improve the economy on this side of the Atlantic?
The hope is, of course, that economic involvement in Africa will make the situation better for people there, so that they won't want to flee or won't want to escape in the first place. You know, if they're safe and sound at home and are doing well economically. And there's good news from Volkswagen, as you mentioned. Not only is it planning to start production in Ghana, it has also said it's intending to build a manufacturing line in Nigeria. In Ghana, additionally, it wants to test car-sharing programs as well. But for Nigeria, it has special plans to turn it into a automotive hub, really, at the West African coast, to sort of operate from there and access several other countries. That would include, and here again is economic benefits for people, especially for the young, training academy in cooperation with the German government. So training people to do jobs, training future Volkswagen employees to do these kind of jobs and make some money there. Now, if all goes well with that, it is also looking to establish a sales and service network. So to actually sell the cars in Nigeria and also get them repaired in shops by Volkswagen right there. All of that, of course, depends on the Nigerian government pushing the reforms that it has promised in the automotive sector to move from an importing country of used cars to a country that produces its own new cars.
Very nicely there. But again, if you look at Report in Africa, GW TV has been expanding your footprints on the African continent, covering general news, business, the environment, the big stories on the continent. Do you think this information ramping up on it, reporting what's happening in Africa to the audience in Germany and all of that, will help shape or reshape perception of German investors, traders and others about doing business with Africa, with Nigeria?
Well, my personal favorite to start off with that is a show that is called Eco at Africa, that shows positive examples of what is happening in Africa with hydroponics projects or renewable energies. We also frequently share these videos on our business Facebook site if you want to check out DW Business. So that's positive. That's positive news. The overall concern when it comes to the perception of Africa in our media in Europe is problems, corruption, as it is in Nigeria, for example, due to the oil crisis, nepotism, violence with Boko Haram. That's all very concerning for people. And another issue is that there's often little known about the individual countries. Individuals here in Europe, they haven't had much experience, which is why it is important that Angela Merkel has been traveling with a group of CEOs, has taken them with them, because it often helps to just experience that personally, in order to realize that there might be a business opportunity here and to learn something about the countries. She's actually brought CEOs from the areas of electrification, automation, digitalization, infrastructure, renewable energy, and water management. And the consensus is, of course, that it's not going to be government or development aid that's really going to make relations better, but it is going to be investment. And currently, Germany especially isn't very far in that. It's lagging behind.
Paul Christian Breeze, nicely put. Thank you very much for your analysis and your insights on this very important day between Nigeria and Germany with the Chancellor here in the country. Thank you very much. Let's lay back, enjoy your weekend, and we'll get together very soon.